Welcome to Oilers Nation Every Day with your hosts, Tyler and Liam.
Call the Edmonton Oilers Chris Hansen the way they be chasing these Predators out of town. Let's get into it with the lead. Big win for the Oil, victory edition of the show. Liam's back. Edmonton beats Nashville again. Big 2 points. 3 points on the weekend for the Oil. That feels good, Liam. That feels good.
Nothing went wrong over the weekend. I mean, to come out of that with the whole road trip with, what would they get, 5 points? I guess yesterday wasn't a road trip. Holy moly. I feel very thrown off right now because, one, I haven't done this show for two of the last two shows.
Weeks.
And also, there's just nothing on the TV besides The Housemaid, which I did watch.
Was Sydney Sweeney?
Yeah.
Was she good?
No, she's a terrible actress.
Horrendous.
Like, I'm not really, well, I know what she brings to movies and what her role is. She's just going to be very, what would you call it, typecast for the rest of her career? Not for me. Amanda
Typecast as a woman with big boobs?
Yes.
Oh, God.
That's exactly what she'll be. The other woman in it, though, Amanda Seyfried.
Yep.
Amazing performance. And also on top of that, just so it doesn't look like I'm picking on only the women, the gentleman in that show. Yeah. My God, I think I have more emotion than that guy does.
Probably.
What a loser.
You deliver great performances on this show.
Many a time. I'm doing it right now.
Some are calling it Oscar-worthy.
Or Razzie. What are they? Is that the bad one? Yeah.
I have no idea, man. I have
Beautiful
no idea.
stuff.
War of the Worlds cleaned up at the Razzies this year.
Congrats
Cleaned
to
up.
Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Former rapper.
Well, welcome into the show, everybody. It is a Victory Monday edition of the program. We are live from the Sports Closet studio. Oh, my God, Liam.
God.
How does that even happen?
I tried to move it. Just the ultimate collapse.
Yeah. We are also a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. So to take you behind the scenes of everything that's going on right now, I think it's all the way behind your chair.
Fuck's sakes.
It's so messed up.
I guess I'll put this right here.
We also got a new TV to be like our monitor. So there's a TV for Liam and I to see what you guys see here. And, when we have guests on and things of that nature, it helps. So we got our new TV and then it needed an update. So now we just don't have a monitor and I can't figure out how to get it set up.
Are you on the right Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I'm on the work Wi-Fi for both of them.
Have you turned it on and turned it back off again? Turned it off and turned it back on?
I mean, no, but that shouldn't be a thing. Anyways.
Oh, God.
Boys are powering through today.
Yeah, we'll grind through. Everybody in the YouTube chat, a big what's up to all of you. Liam, we have some very exciting news in the YouTube chat.
I have it in the chat.
Yeah, in the YouTube chat.
Says I got fired.
But now you're back.
Oh. Is that the news?
Fired and rehired. No.
Oh, okay.
I know everyone is obviously holding their breath in regards to the Leon Draisaitl injury.
Oh.
But Nicole is in on the YouTube. In case everyone is worried about Leon Draisaitl, I'm Leon Draisaitl's best friend, and I got a WhatsApp message from him this morning, and he's going to be fine. So that's some good news for Oilers fans.
Oh, thank you, Nicole. I'm not too worried about Draisaitl, if I have to be honest. I mean,
the fact he was able to come back and play probably tells you he was relatively fine. They're just playing it safe.
Yeah, I would assume that. And if you remember back to last season, too, a very different spot for the Oilers, if I remember incorrectly. They had a lot of injuries. Obviously, everyone got hurt, right? There was a point where McDavid and Draisaitl were both out of the lineup. Obviously, I call them a little bit as well. So I feel like they're just at that time of year where they're being a bit overly cautious of what's going on, especially with the star guys. Emberson got banged up. We haven't seen him since. Yeah. Obviously, Colton Duck got put on LTIR as well.
Have seen him since. Him and I went for lunch at the same spot this weekend.
Ty Emerson?
No, Colton Duck.
He was at the Bonspiel.
Well, he wasn't at the Bonspiel, but me and my buddies went for lunch somewhere near there, and he saw all of us in our Atlanta Thrashers jerseys.
Sick.
And he definitely was like, why are those guys wearing Atlanta Thrashers jerseys?
Oh, that's good. I think, was there another injury? I guess Lazar's out. Maybe that's
Rico's been in and out.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him.
Ty Emerson's injured.
I wonder, Ty Emerson, I think he'll be out till Saturday. I think he could come back against Florida, but I wonder if they just want to avoid that situation.
I think he plays tomorrow.
I mean, if he plays tomorrow, then yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. And maybe you can shine some light on this. A lot of people in the YouTube chat saying that Nicole isn't actually Leon Draisaitl's best friend because why would he be using WhatsApp to talk to his best friends? That's a very European thing.
Very European thing. I actually think a lot of sports teams are using WhatsApp nowadays.
Correct.
I think it is
my beer league hockey team, my beer league softball team.
It's quite a handy thing to do. And
so you can just assume the Oilers would use it as well.
Yeah, and I'm part of the generation that still does have Facebook Messenger group chats.
Oh, I'm trying to weed myself out of those.
Yeah, me too. But some of them are just, we're in too deep on them. I don't really want to mess around with not having it, to be honest. A bit too much history in the chat. So, yeah, I would assume Draisaitl is using it, and I would assume Nicole is telling the truth.
Yeah. I just have no reason to doubt her personally.
Yeah, no.
So thank you, Nicole, in the chat. B. Congdon, can we discuss how good the third line is? Buddy, we will be talking about it. Big Comfy Chesterfield, great name. I'm thinking I should get a Dickie jersey. Dickinson, of course, that is. Oh. I wouldn't if I were you. But that's not a slight on Jason Dickinson. That's just me giving out some form of financial advice.
Depends what you're into.
Yeah, sure. If you want like the niche jerseys, some people are really into that.
I have a Devon Shaw one.
Yeah.
Dustin Penner.
Yeah.
There's a few you can go with. He has been a good addition to the team, though. I do like him. Elevated because of circumstances to the second line today. Mm-hmm.
We will talk about that in a little bit as well. Dave Pagnotta is our guest today. I don't know if you all saw some very exciting news in the world of hockey. Edmonton, Calgary, and Prague are going to be the host cities for the 2028 World Cup. And Edmonton will get the medal round, which is a very, very exciting. The semis and the finals will be played in Edmonton, and that is cool as hell.
Do you think they put one in a downtown community rink?
Balance it out? No.
No. It is cool that it's come here for the significant part of it, too. I was thinking about this on the way into work today. I was like, that's to be a downer on the situation. When do you think Edmonton's run ends here of hosting all these events? Because they've hosted basically everything besides honestly,
no draft, no All-Star game.
No All-Star game, that's true. Maybe they get a couple of those. But
I think they're giving Edmonton this instead of an All-Star game. I think they prefer All-Star games going to
smaller towns.
I think sometimes more less traditional markets.
Which makes a lot of sense, to be honest. And rightfully so. I mean, you've been to a couple of All-Star games, and I think you would say that having the community aspect of an All-Star game is much better than what they show on TV.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say? So there's that side of it. And obviously it's also going to Prague, which I think is a significant layer in this, because to me, and I believe there was commented on this too from Bettman and whoever else in the press conference, the double IHF is in. I feel like this is the side of it is we're going to come, but you have to give us some games in Europe. Which I think is a great idea. It is the World Cup of hockey.
Well, look at what the World Baseball Classic just did, right?
Yeah,
they
that's
had
true.
3 different pools playing in 3 different cities.
Because there was one Tokyo, Dominican, and
Tokyo, Puerto Rico, and Houston.
Puerto Rico. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's good. I think it works. A few years ago at the European Championships, UEFA European Championships, they did it in 13 different cities.
Yeah.
Which I personally didn't love. But those events, not to take away from hockey, but there's a lot more tradition. The events have been much longer. They're going on for much longer, and it just feels a bit better in that way. But I do like that they're going to Prague, and I would assume Canada and US would be in the same pool if they're just making 2 groups.
Yeah.
Which is, do you want that?
Yes, they want that because they want to put them on separate sides of the bracket for the semis.
Gotcha.
And they want to try to, as best as they can.
Well, do you want to guess? The 8 teams? I think we should make a rule here.
Okay.
Russia's not going. And I think we should stay out of that until someone else comes out and says they're going. We can all have our opinions on it, sure. At the end of the day, they're at war. Counterpoint.
Counterpoint. So is the USA.
Agreed.
Anywho.
I know. But on that level, they're not doing it. But I agree with you. I don't think Russia's going unless things change drastically. But one other thing I would like to say is a lot of people are writing out these 8 teams. They're including Russia, whatever. But Switzerland is just not involved in this at all. Switzerland, I think everyone seems to have forgotten, finished 5th at the Olympics.
Yeah, there were 10 teams at the Olympics, right?
There was
12,
and they were the 5th.
Yeah.
They beat Germany, who everyone's thrown in. Slovakia, I think they beat. Slovakia finished 4th. Either way,
we'll talk to Dave Pagnotta about this, and I got another question along these lines in fill in the blank. We got one comment from the Moomin who said, "My best friend is from Prague, and she's so hype. Such a great hockey market there. It's great for Prague. I also like that the theme in today's chat is just telling us stuff about your best friends.
Yeah.
So feel free to keep that vibe going. I think that's cool. This is legitimately, and B. Congdon, you comment every day. You're great. You watch the show a lot. You saying that you would have preferred an NHL draft over this is legitimately one of the most insane things I've ever heard. And I understand that the draft is, let's call it, more consequential than an all-star game, right?
If I'm picking between that and an all-star game, I'd pick the draft.
Ugh. As someone who has been to both of them now in my life, and I'm very lucky to have the experiences that I have, good Lord, the drafts are terrible. I was at the draft at the Sphere, and I left early.
I think they should do the draft all in one spot.
I think it should be the same spot every year.
Yeah, I think that would be fine.
The draft, the first 3 picks are like, yeah. And then after that, it's like, well, this is the worst thing in the world. It's so boring. Because you have to remember, like, you want to draft in Edmonton, okay? You're going to go to the draft and not get any of the TV coverage. They do like a weird little interview thing sometimes, but like you don't get analysts breaking down picks for you. You don't get all that stuff. Drafts are legitimate. I would way sooner have a all-star game skills competition in Edmonton. And like if I had to rank these 3, World Cup 1.
Agreed.
50 feet of crap, all-star game 2, another 50 feet of crap, draft 3. The drafts are painful to attend.
I never really thought of the layer of not hearing the analysis of a player. Because I like watching the draft on TV.
Yeah, watching the draft on TV is great because you're on your phone and you got analysis coming up on the screen and you're watching videos of the guys. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Also, you want the draft to be in Edmonton so you can watch the Oilers pick in the 3rd round?
Hey, maybe they sneak a pick in just to get the home fans going.
Sure.
It's like Reed Schaefer again.
But yeah, the drafts are just absolutely terrible to attend in person. All right. We're going to be joined by Pagnotta in a little bit, but we do have a game from yesterday to talk about, Liam. So let's start things off by doing a little game recap for our friends at Derek Dodge. It's a new chapter at Derek Dodge. They have new ownership. They're bringing a fresh approach with new energy and a renewed focus on customer experience. And right now, they have an unbeatable deal. With every vehicle purchase, you will receive a trip for 2 to Las Vegas. You heard that right. Leave the lot with your new vehicle, and flights and accommodations for a trip for 2 to Vegas are on them. That is tough to beat. Visit Derek Dodge at derekdodge.com. Last night, Liam, the Edmonton Oilers picked up a big 2 points over the Nashville Predators. It was one of those games that, listen, I don't really view Nashville as like an authentic shot at making having an authentic shot at making the playoffs.
Yes.
Just probably a few too many teams in the middle of all of this. But if they would have won last night, they would have only been 4 points back of the Oilers with 2 games in hand. They borderline, because I don't think they'd control the tiebreaker. They'd borderline have been in control of passing the Edmonton Oilers. And with the way things sit right now, if you're the Oilers, the concern with dropping a game like that last night to the Nashville Predators would be, oh shit, now Nashville's in a spot where they can catch you by winning their games in hand. Seattle's in a spot where they can pass you by winning the games in hand, because they would hold the tiebreaker in that scenario. And San Jose is in a spot where they can pass you by winning the games in hand. And I think if you're looking at this as Edmonton versus just Seattle, you can kind of sit there and cross your fingers and go, hey, they probably aren't going to win all their games in hand. You should be good. The fact that there would be 3, almost 4 teams with the LA Kings right around that mark as well that could all catch you by winning their games in hand, someone's going to win these hockey games.
Yeah.
So, like, that was a legitimately big 4-point swing for the Edmonton Oilers last night. You're coming off a successful road trip as well. I know Friday, which we can kind of lump into this conversation too, Friday sucked, blowing that 2-goal lead, losing in overtime. Very, very painful way for that game to end, and it's an extra point that was right there in your grasp, and you let it slip through. Very frustrating. But in the last 7 days of Edmonton Oilers hockey, from Sunday night to Sunday night, they went 4-1-1. If they do that down the stretch,
They're good.
they are going to make the playoffs.
They're going to win the division.
Yeah. Sorry, 3-1-1.
Yes, 3-1-1. Yeah, they'll be. Well, they're already right there.
That's a 700 points percentage.
Yeah, it's great. And There was a comment. I know the person was kind of joking when I said it based off what I said too, but like you asked the question, what would that be? Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever else, the Oilers back. And I said, I think they are because of the way they were playing defensively. And maybe you guys can correct me. I didn't catch all of Friday's game, but like from the stuff I read, the Oilers basically dominated for 40 minutes or so and they just let it slip in the third period. And then obviously the Dallas game, we all know what happened there. Starts with Tristan, Jarry. But anyway.
Yes, he did get the start in that game.
And then they come back to Nashville and they do well and they play relatively good defensive hockey for the majority of the games. And they got good goaltending out of Connor Ingram. Like I think the Oilers posted out there is like 4-on-1, his last 5 starts, whatever it may be. So I think there's a reason to be happy with the way the Oilers have been playing recently. And there's also been reason to doubt as well, of course. But I think last night was a good... I really liked the effort in multiple aspects. Obviously, there was the Draisaitl incident, which came with everyone going after Ozzy Weisblatt. But that did kind of end after the first in a way. They picked their spots, I think, throughout the game. Obviously, there was Matthias Ekholm drew a penalty on Weisblatt. But I think the Oilers handled that really, really well, and I liked it. And
showed some fight. Showed some like
Frederic did not threw him around.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the last time we saw someone actually do that on the Oilers with like someone to that degree. You know what I mean? Like usually it's like they grab the fighter and obviously Podkolzin fought Nicholas Hague. But yeah, I liked that. It felt like a veteran game in a way for the Oilers. And even when they like got 2-1, that was a pretty unlucky goal. I think to allow, you could see it was very much a knuckle puck. Like very unfortunate.
I don't blame Ingram on that one at all.
I mean, either. The first one you watch, you're like, how did that go in? But then you watch the replay, it literally dips under his glove or above whatever it was.
And that's also one of those, Liam, where like, if that goal goes in and it's because the game was 2-0 at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
If that goal goes in while the game's tied at 2 because Ingram's given up another softie, you sit there and go, you have to stop that puck.
Yeah.
The good thing about Connor Ingram, 963 save percentage, big thumbs up from us in that hockey game. He had made enough big saves throughout that game where you kind of sat there and were like, damn, you can give him a little bit of sympathy there. You're sympathetic towards that one going in because like you played so well, you got beat by a weird greasy one, shit happens.
And then on Friday, that wasn't Ingram, right? That was just like kind of situational.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I know you were obviously out in BC, but that wasn't on Connor Ingram at all, I would say.
I saw the Cam Fowler goal, which was like kind of off the face-off through a bunch of screens.
Yeah.
And the overtime goal, I mean, it goes either way, but what I would say to that is the Oilers offense, again, like we've kind of said this a lot this season, they can't seem to find that killer instinct to like get them that third goal and kind of get them across the line in certain games. And that is the one side of Oilers hockey right now where I'm like, not upset about it. It's like that needs to be better. Draisaitl in or out, like you still should have enough firepower.
Leon Draisaitl still found a way to find the back of the net in that hockey game.
I know, and I put $20 on that.
I did too. I had Draisaitl goal and Draisaitl goal in the puck line last night, which was nice. There are a couple of other positives, and we'll get to our bright dental bright moment in a moment here. Obviously, Connor
positives.
Positives?
Positives.
Oh, positives. You liked Vasily last night, did you?
I did like the fight.
Yep.
I like that he just shows a willingness every night to do whatever it takes. I thought he stepped in on the power play and did a relatively decent job. Like he had a really, really good one-timer, which forced a big save out of, what's the guy's name? Justus Antonin. I thought he actually had a decent game yesterday too, but Pods again, he just shows up. Yep. I appreciate his game a lot.
Shows up, works hard, almost hammered home that one-timer. That was a great save by Antonin.
Great save.
That thing was labeled.
Yeah, he did well. And I know some people online were like, do you need Pods on the power play? Maybe they wanted more Roslovic. But it's like, well, if you know the story throughout the season, there's been a ton of reports of like, Pods works on his one-timers with Draisaitl.
Yeah, from that spot.
Put him in that spot, see what he does, and he did well.
Yep, I'm with you. Lance says Podkolzin's a new fan favorite. Also, a few people have dropped in the chat that Freddie has been looking great since the Olympics, and he has. Shout out to our doctor commenter.
Yeah.
Again, this is why we believe everything you guys put in the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
It looks like that ankle's fully healed up, and he looks... This is the Trent Frederic I thought we were getting. Now, I'll also add, he's still not playing at a level that gets me excited that he's here for the next 7 seasons, but he's at least... playing a role and making a positive impact on I won't even say nightly basis, on a period-to-period basis. There's one play every period where you go like, there you go, Freddie.
Well, like, over the last, even yesterday, throwing around Weisblatt. Like, that's an impact on the game. Like, he didn't score or anything. I think he maybe had one chance, remembering correctly. But either way, like, you could count on one hand how many impactful things Frederic did before the Olympic break.
Yeah.
Now you need 2. We're getting to number 6. You know what I mean? They're getting pretty good here.
One other positive from last night, Matt Savoie finishing off a 2-on-1 with Connor McDavid. The two of them I thought looked good again yesterday. Here are their numbers together at 5v5. With Connor and Savoie on the ice together this season, they're only +1 at 5-on-5, only 51% of the shots. So, the fancy metrics aren't quite there, but you watch a game like last night where, like, eye test wise, they both seem to think the game on a pretty, I'll call it, similar wavelength. Like, Matt Savoie's a guy who, through every level of hockey he's played, granted, he's almost always had, or been the best player, I should say, but he's always been on the top line playing with other great players, right? Yeah. Playing with the other guys who are thinking the game probably better than other guys at that level. So the idea that he can slide up next to Connor McDavid and give you some really, really solid minutes is not surprising. And this is something I probably want to see Chris Knoblauch keep doing going forward. We'll talk about the ripple effect of this down the lineup a little bit, but just, again, on the surface last night with some of these numbers, Connor McDavid and Matt Savoie together, the shots were 7-3, the goals were not 1-0. The shot attempts were 13-3, 86% expected goals for percentage. Like, they were great, and I want to see that duo stick now.
Well, I think another part of it, too, is very few players who can hit a similar top speed to Connor McDavid. And Savoie, I would think, is definitely one of them. He can fly out there, and like you said, like, he can play on the same wavelength of him as well, because throughout his career, he has been the Connor McDavid of his teams, whatever team he's been on. So I think that's been a really good thing for Savoie. He can rip the puck when he's given opportunities as well. It's just multiple layers to him, which is why I wrote about it a couple of weeks ago. Like, I think he's a perfect fit next to McDavid. And obviously we saw what News can do a bit deeper down the lineup as well, and why that has become such a positive for this team too. But yeah, Savoie's going to have a great future with the Edmonton Oilers. I'm a huge fan of his. Huge.
Yep. Frog Prince says Savoie is the Yamamoto we were looking for. He is so much of a better, more complete hockey player than Kyler Yamamoto was. And I know Yamo had the one good year here and all of that. But
he was a good play for the Oilers too.
Yeah,
Not to discredit him, but like, his neck injuries caught up with him pretty quick.
Yeah, that too. Again, like, that top line was good. And obviously Connor McDavid picking up 3 assists was a big reason why they won that hockey game. But that wasn't, 3 chintzy points or anything like that. Connor and Savoie were very, very good together last night. Ingram, obviously exceptional. Like I said, stops 26 of 27, and it's a 3-1 win for the Edmonton Oilers. So a couple of other sort of lingering headlines around this. We'll talk. Draisaitl was not on the ice today for practice. We don't have an update on the severity there.
Well, we have one.
Well, from Nicole, yes.
Yes.
Did you find it interesting that Chris Knoblauch came out and kind of just said point blank, Connor Ingram is going to be our starter down the stretch. He will be treated as the starting goalie?
Did I find it weird?
Like, for him to show, like, a coach who, I mean, you and I say this a lot, he likes to lie, and when we say that, it's tongue-in-cheek. He likes to keep his cards close to his chest, is the politically correct way to probably say that. He likes to keep his cards close to his chest, and he comes out and just says, Tristan Jarry is going to be the backup. Connor Ingram will get the starter's workload.
No, I think it was actually necessary to say that, to be honest. Like, what has Tristan Jarry done? Like, I'm looking back here. Since returning from injuries, again, I'm not a huge save percentage guy, but this paints a picture. He's had 2 games over 900.
Yeah.
One of them, he came in relief in the Colorado game, did he? Which was the Anaheim game. He allowed 4 goals on 41 shots, and a lot of those were power play goals, if I'm remembering correctly. I think at least 3. And then the other one was his 31 save shutout against Vancouver. I just think, why not say it? It's obvious. You know what I mean? Like, I think that Connor Ingram has played well enough that he deserves to be labeled as the starting goaltender on this team. And I think Jarry I don't even know what you do with him. I can't even I think he needs a reset, because I just don't think he does. I think he needs to not think about hockey, which is clearly what happened against Colorado, where he's like, well, I'm in it. Like, I just got to go do this now. And you're going to need him down the stretch. I don't know where you start him this week. Like, I'd be tempted to start him. Who do they play tomorrow again?
San Jose. You can't lose that hockey game. It has to be Ingram.
I mean, you're probably looking at the Florida game, I would think. But I feel like that's a game they want to win. But then you look at Tampa on Saturday, and you're like, you want to put him out in Hockey Night in Canada, make it even worse for him?
Nope.
Like, if that goes bad, like, you're in a bad spot.
I think you have to give him Florida because who do you have next week? Utah, Vegas, Anaheim. None of them are back-to-backs.
Yeah.
You are probably going Ingram for all three.
And even, like, the Dallas style had... I mean, the worst part about it was all of it. But the fact he wasn't even able to get a couple of saves in to start. Wasn't it the first shot? The first
90
couple?
seconds
like,
in.
Yeah. And it's
Which wasn't totally his fault, but still need a save.
Yeah. Eventually, it's just to the point, it's like, okay, you allowed whatever the final score was there. So
let's
tough.
say...
I honestly don't know what you do.
So keep in mind that none of these games I'm about to rattle off are back-to-backs, okay?
Okay.
And we'll map out the games where you could potentially say it makes sense to start Jarry. And again, this is with the context of the head coach, Chris Knoblauch, saying he is our starting goalie.
So the other part of that, too, just to throw in it, last season, Stuart Skinner never started more than 3 games in a row.
Interesting.
And I think that was clear. Starting, backup.
Yeah. So San Jose, 4-point swing at home. You have to go Connor Ingram. No debate. Believe he was in the starter's crease today at practice. You're going Ingram. Thursday, Jarry. Because you're right, Ingram would have played 3 in a row at that point.
Yeah.
Tampa's the scarier of the two. You need to rack up wins, so you go Jarry. Then Saturday, you're likely going back to Connor Ingram against the organization that drafted him. 2 days off, then you get a 4-point swing against Utah.
That's where I'm starting, Jarry.
You're going Jarry against Utah?
I think I am. Because
Ingram first came back in Utah. I don't want to give it to him.
I just think, look at the next 3 games.
Well, that was going to kind of be my next point. If Ingram is the starter, I think you sit there and go, coming off 2 days rest, you're back to your number 1. So let's say it's Ingram against the Bolts. Maybe it's Ingram, maybe it's Jarry against Utah. It's definitely Ingram against Vegas. It's definitely Ingram against Anaheim. It's definitely Ingram against Seattle. Calendar flips to April. You could probably go Jarry against the Blackhawks. And then it's definitely Ingram Saturday against Vegas. Then you have a back-to-back, so split them. And then down the stretch, if you need 3 straight wins, which you might to win the division, LA, Colorado, Vancouver. Probably Ingram, unless the standings dictate you can punt on the final game. There is legitimately a chance, 1, 2, 3. If I set the line at 3.5, I honestly don't think you could confidently take the over for number of starts that Jarry will get the rest of the way. That Utah game may be the one that pushes it to 4, but I don't see it.
No, I think that's a good line, which is awful to understate it, I think.
Yeah.
People are asking about Calvin Pickard. Can he come up? I just don't see a scenario. Well, actually, I never saw this scenario either. I mean, maybe they will. Maybe they will eventually just call up Calvin Pickard. And all of a sudden, Tristan Jarry's on a bit of a leave or something like that. Not to speculate. I don't know anything. I'm just saying in general. But I wonder if they give if you come down here and next couple of weeks, let's say he gets 2 more starts by the end of the month. What if they're both horrendous again? What if you just get 700 both games? You have to consider it strongly, I think. Like someone put in the chat. Let me see if I can find it quickly here. Be a Baron. And what happens if Ingram blows a few tires? Are we going to send him down too? This isn't a small sample size anymore. This is since he returned from his injury in, what was that, early January?
Yeah.
He's had 2 good games. 3 if you want to push it.
This is not one bad game and we're bringing out the pitchforks.
Can you guys see what's on the screen right now?
I don't have a link.
Okay.
I can.
Jarry's 58th out of 60 goalies in save percentage since he was acquired by the Oilers. He is 60 out of 60 in goals against. Minimum 10 games played.
It's not good. Yep.
KCN put Jarry was actually pretty good when he was brought in when we played defense. See, I had that argument too for a while, but
go back
Connor Ingram's playing in the front of behind the same team, and he's putting in good games.
Yeah,
like I think our Dallas game. Again, I watched that game on mute. A very awkward game to watch on mute, I will say.
Very emotional.
Lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, Connor McDavid got his eye gouged.
That was actually a crazy freeze for him. The Oilers didn't play good, but I didn't think they played that bad.
I said the way I put it was with average goaltending, they lose that game 4-2. Instead, they lost it fucking 7-3.
Is that what the final score was?
Whatever it was.
Well, I mean, when you put yourself in a 5-0 hole, you're not
against the hottest team in the NHL. Not
it's a tough one.
Don't
to
do
come
that.
Out from. No,
don't do that.
Would not recommend.
Write it down. Okay, our guest is here.
Okay,
I have another Tristan Jarry question to throw your way and fill in the blank later on.
Oh.
But for now, let's go to the guest line, which is a presentation of your Prairie Toyota dealers. Looking to dominate off the ice as much as your team does on it? Check out the Toyota Tacoma. Its standard I-Force engine boasts an impressive towing capacity of up to 6,400 pounds. That's a lot of goalie gear. In fact, it's the most powerful Tacoma ever, so whether you're hauling your gear to the rink or heading to an away game, you can tackle it with ease. When it's time to load up, the available power liftgate makes loading your gear in and out a cinch. Experience power, capability, and convenience with the Toyota Tacoma. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer during Red Tag Days on from March through May, as we welcome in Dave Pagnotta from the fourth period, joining us as he does every Monday. Where in the world is Dave Pagnotta? Were you not out in New York this weekend?
Still am. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I got the Rangers Kings tonight, then back to Toronto tomorrow for Leafs and Islanders.
Plenty to get to, including maybe a little question about that Kings team later on. It was a big weekend for Anze Kopitar, but they are still fighting in the playoff picture. But we'll table that for now. Instead, the news of the day, the World Cup of Hockey in 2028. It is going to be coming to Edmonton along with Calgary and Prague. I know there was a press conference today, but give us sort of all the details. What, outside of the host city, obviously, because I just said that, what do we know about the 2028 World Cup?
Yeah, it's going to feature 8 countries. And they're going to be 17 games total. So 7 games in Calgary, 7 games in Prague, the semifinal and the final in Edmonton. There's going to be 6 preliminary round-robin games in each of Prague and Calgary, and then 1, I guess, a quarterfinal-esque type of game.
Yeah.
And then everybody gets their butts to Edmonton for the semis and the final. So there's it should be interesting. It's going to span 13 days. The legal shut down for 17 days. The NHL will, to accommodate this in February of 28. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for it. This is, 4 nations times 2 is kind of what they're gearing this up to be, and larger, and having it as a proper World Cup that they hope to expand 4 years later up to 12 countries. So we got 8. We'll see. They don't have, I mean, we can assume obviously Canada is going to be in it. The Czechs are going to be in it. US, Finland, Sweden. So there's 5. The others, they haven't been finalized yet. And we'll see kind of what that process is going to be in terms of qualifying. Will Germany be part of it? Will Switzerland be part of it? Slovakia? Whomever. So they haven't committed yet to any of the countries, but presumably the 5 I mentioned, and then 3 additional.
Let's ask a tag team 2-part question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll ask part 1. You using the word countries, does that mean that we aren't going to get any sort of a weird Team Europe combo this whatever country? And
no.
Do you think they'll actually be qualifying, or are they just going to pick the teams that go? Because you said qualifying. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, they want some type of qualification to go into this. It may not necessarily be for this one, but I know that was the initial plan for World Cup, was that there would be some type of qualification round for some of the countries to get the other seeds, maybe the last 2 or in this case 3. Because again, I would anticipate Canada, US, Finland, Sweden, Czechia being 5, and then see where the other 3 go. Now, based on the NHL's announcement last week with Germany and the Global Series games going there next season, and their commitment to Germany and looking to expand on that, they'll probably have games there again, in the immediate future, beyond next season. I mean, probably going to be part of it as well. So maybe the last 2 will have some type of qualification round. But that's what that they want, and B, they have to finalize or at least plan things out a little bit with the IIHF to see if that's doable for 28. It may be something that goes for 32.
Were you surprised Edmonton wasn't actually involved in these Germany games? It's Chicago and Ottawa, right?
Yeah, so they put Stützle in there, but obviously Edmonton has Draisaitl and Szymanski.
Yeah, and like obviously Mo Seider on Detroit as well.
yeah.
I don't know if
Detroit,
they know, but
yep.
Lucas Reichel doesn't play for Chicago anymore.
They might have forgot.
Might have forgotten.
I think they committed to that a little bit earlier. JJ Peterka in Utah, and so on and so on. Like I said, there are going to be more games in Germany. Like this isn't a one-off. They're not just going to go to Dusseldorf and then peace out afterwards. They've talked about future games in Berlin, Munich, and whatnot. So we'll see when that happens. But Global Series will have those teams, as you mentioned, Chicago, Ottawa for next season. And there are also going to be additional games. There's going to be Finland as well that the league is yet to announce. But that's coming down as well. I don't know which teams are involved. And I heard it was November. It might be the start of the season. But we'll see kind of once they make that announcement. It's supposed to be pretty soon.
All right. Anything else? Obviously, GM meetings are a big time of the year for sort of future things to be discussed, potential changes, all of that stuff. Do you kind of have any idea what's on the docket at these GM meetings?
I mean, everybody's pretty happy with how things are going. The league finances are great. I'm sure they'll have some off-agenda discussions with regards to expansion. I don't think it's on the official docket, unless that's changed at the last minute. But with the NBA, with news that the NBA is going to add 2 more teams, or go through their expansion process, I should say, with respect to Las Vegas and Seattle, they're growing. MLB's been talking about it for a while, and the league certainly is open to that as well, with Atlanta building their facility with their group, and then we'll see if it's Houston or somebody or somewhere else. But that might be in a side conversation, not on the official agenda. Obviously, the salary cap and the projections moving forward will be part of this. We know what next year's cap projection is 104 million. We know that in 2 years from now, it's 113.5. And then it looks like around 123, 124 for the following year. So we'll see what that is, but that's going to be tabled as well in terms of discussions. But rules, all that stuff, they kind of like where everything is. By the way, with respect to the World Cup, overtime in the semifinals and the final will be normal per NHL rules. So no 3-on-3, no 4-on-4. It'll be 5-on-5, 20 minutes until they get a winner.
Thank goodness.
Which also probably tells you that the semifinals, both being in Edmonton with that overtime, will probably be played on like separate days. So we'll probably get like
maybe
semi day off. But again, that's 2 years from now, so probably don't need to worry about planning our weeks right now. We can just wait.
You don't have your calendar?
No, I don't have my calendar out that far ahead. Speaking of overtime, I had a conversation today with my good friend Steve Peters on Daily Faceoff Live, and we were just, again, kind of digging through the numbers here. Already this season, there have been 20 more games that have gone to a shootout compared to last year. I mean, there's still 20% of the season left. Like, that number could get even higher, especially considering the fact a lot of games should be close. And like Petey brought up that there was a Columbus-Philly game over the weekend that in the whole 5 minutes of overtime, they had 1 shot on net combined between the two teams. And I don't think there's a lot in the sport that is, like, in air quotes, broken per se. But that's a bit of a concerning trend as parity continues to be where it's at. All these games are going to a shootout. More games are going to overtime. Is that anything that, like, talking to people inside the sport in the league, is there any appetite to change up the way OT works?
No. The short answer is no. The league they like what they have and where that's at. Now, what we're seeing are teams trying to get super cutesy with trying to finish off games, and that's why you're cycling back into the zone. You're trying to find that opening, to go on a 2-on-1 or just set somebody free kind of thing. But that's just, part of the evolution of overtime. Eventually, things were going to go in one direction. This is the direction that it's going in right now until people start to find a bit of a solution there or just go on full attack. But that's kind of the trend in terms of how they're approaching it style-wise. But overall, I haven't really heard of any concerns. And it sounds like the league likes where it's at right now. It likes the finances. I also believe, as part of the GM discussions, that there'll be some type of conversation with respect to U.S. television rights and how that's looking moving forward. But they like it. That means more bucks. They like all the money coming in, and they like how the game is formatted and played, including playoff format, by the way.
Oh, and that's another thing that just keeps popping up. And I have another take on that, but we can save it for later. They did also say when it comes to the World Cup, I found it interesting. Bettman said, hey, it's going to be open to bidders. And I was like, oh, that's interesting to not be like, oh, we have our TV partners or whatever. Like, if it actually does go to the highest bidder,
we could get it.
Oilersnation?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Chuck the money their way. They'll listen. Yes, because the television rights for both Canada and the U.S. are for this tournament are open. So they could have a separate partner than who they currently have, for these games. And it's, again, based on the popularity that stemmed from Four Nations and how well Olympics did as well. Yeah, it's gonna generate a lot of interest. Now, I'm curious to see. We don't know how this is going to be formatted either, let alone what the official 8 countries that are going to be part of this. But it wouldn't shock me if Canada and the U.S. are in their separate divisions. U.S. playing in Prague to start things off, and Canada in Alberta. But I don't know that definitively. But it would make sense if they do go in that direction.
Sorry, just because I know this is popping up in the chat. The cap projection, 104. Is there any chance that there's a change to that and things went really well this year?
It's that's what they're going to discuss as part of that. I don't think it's going to jump more than 105. Because this was pre-projected at going up $8.5 million into next season. It's possible it can go to 105. I haven't heard too much beyond that. It's possible next year or the following year could be around 115, just to keep the numbers nice and easy. I don't. And then again, the 123, 125 projection 3 years from now, I think at that point we're going to start to see a little bit of a plateau because these bigger jumps are pretty significant, going up almost $10 million a year. And I think some teams are going to be a little concerned that this is growing a little too quickly for them. But at least for going into next season, I think everybody's comfortable with where they're at 104. And it wouldn't surprise me if it just even stays there.
And then we should talk about the Department of Player Safety.
You love talking DPOS.
DPOS. Yes. Sure. McDavid obviously had his quote after the Matthews incident where, if people didn't know, he said, every time there's a suspension, everyone complains about it. Why don't we just take a look at the process and figure out if there's a better way to make sure both parties are happy? Because it seems like there's a lot of frustration. Do you suspect that the NHL will look into changing how this process is going?
No. Because they seem pretty satisfied with how things have gone. Now, yes, there is a lot of backlash, and I think Gudas should have gotten 7-8 games, quite frankly. But they capped it off pretty quickly right out of the gate. And just because you have an in-person or are offered an in-person hearing doesn't mean you're automatically getting over 5 games. They could have still gone through that process and still decided 5 was right. But then that's your max based on how they did it. Maybe when it comes to the severity of injuries, maybe then that is where you look to open it up a little bit. But again, they seem to be comfortable with how that process works. The NHLPA will have a say as well if they want to open things up from that regard. And I'm sure they're going to have some type of discussion with it right now in Florida, but I don't think the league itself is looking to change it. It hasn't really come up because they're satisfied with how things go. Again, severity of injury, maybe that changes things in terms of how they approach it. But for the time being, they've been pretty happy with how they run things, and a lot of people aren't. But what are you supposed to do?
like it's an 82 game season, and I'd maybe have to double check the numbers this year, but it feels like we've gotten a lot fewer suspensions this season than we have in the past. And like, it's an 82 game season, like slapping a guy with a 1 game suspension versus just always going with the $5,000 fine route. Like, I don't know. I think sometimes the Department of Player Safety just looks for ways to take the easy way out so that some executive isn't calling them and mother effing them into the dirt because they suspended a guy for a game and they think it's unfair. Like, even like when Hagel kind of jumped Dahlin the other week, I'm sitting there and I'm going like, okay, Malkin gets 5 for his swinging stick, and like, sure, like that's 5 games. You can't swing your stick and hit a guy in the head. I look at what Hagel did and kind of go like, you could injure a guy just as easily by jumping him and punching him in the head 4 times. Why doesn't he get a game for that? Like, I just feel like they take the easy way out too much.
Well, you can actually, just quickly, slap people in the face with your stick if you're Jacob Trouba onto Trent Frederic.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago. But right, it just always feels so random.
Yeah, it does. There doesn't seem to be consistency, but you know, that's how I agree with you, but they view it differently, clearly. And you know, they like their process. Now, certain things, you know, I can understand in the moment. Like, I do understand to a degree why they selected 5 games for Gudas. I don't agree with limiting it there. I think they should have gone in person. But if it ended up being 5 games, so be it. Because he didn't, like, for me, he didn't try to get his knee out of the way. He didn't move his leg. So, but at the same time, so he knows what he's doing. Hence the suspension. But at the same time, he didn't lean in. Like, he wasn't really going for him. He just didn't do anything to avoid it. And that caused pretty serious injury. And you know, dude's season's done. And he's got 5 games. And I think the Leafs and Ducks play after his suspension is lifted. So we'll see what happens there. But probably nothing, considering they didn't do shit the other time. But the suspension process itself, again, the league seems to be comfortable with it. I do agree with you. I think, you know, some more should have been levied out, but you know, this is what we got.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the playoff picture. I think in the Eastern Conference, a lot of people inside that race, GMs and whatnot, I think they're losing sleep, because if you're a team like Ottawa and you're Steve Stais, you're laying in bed at night being like, oh my God, we just went 7-1-2 over a 10-game stretch, and we gained like 3 points worth of ground, and we're still 3 points back. Yeah. Oh my God, how are we going to go 7-1-2 again to try close this gap? Versus in the West, it feels like the GMs would be pulling out their hair, not losing their sleep, being like, if we just play 500 hockey, we're going to make the playoffs, and no one can play 500 hockey. Like, it's hilarious to compare and contrast these two playoff races, because no one wants it in the West.
It's weird. It is. I mean, you know, just looking at LA, I was here for the last 2 games. They played the Islanders on Friday and they won, and then they played the Devils and they had it and gave it up. They had it. Well, they gave it up early, and then they had a great second period, and then gave it up in the third. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of going back. Like, Seattle's doing good, and then they're not. San Jose's there, and then they're not, and so on and so on. The roller coaster ride for that final spot is probably going to come down now to the end of the season, right at the finish line. And then obviously just positioning in the Pacific for where these teams are going to go. But then Colorado loses a few. Dallas is on a heater. It is certainly interesting in that West from a different side of it. In the East, I still think it's going to be. I think Columbus, the way they're playing, makes it, and then it's Detroit or Boston who falls out. And Detroit, you can see, because they'll have a big game tonight. But you know, there's no Larkin. You lost Kopp. You have an excuse. You don't want to use the excuse, but it's a valid one and a realistic one, because you just lost your captain and you know, arguably your best player. So it'd be understandable if they do falter down the stretch here over the next couple of weeks while he's out. And then at that point, is the gap going to be too difficult to shorten, or to the hurdle going to be easy enough to jump over once he does come back? But you got Columbus killing it, and Boston's right there as well. So this is why the league likes the format, their playoff format, and doesn't want to expand it, because this is these everything we're talking about is their playing round effectively with how tight things are, and how that that's probably going to be sustained throughout the end of the regular season.
Just, Aaron, can you flash up the Western Conference standings again? I think the West is like a perfect example of why we probably need the 3-2-1 point system. Because if you go to the teams who are in the wild card, like the step below there, like just take OT losses and call them losses. Utah's Edmonton is under 500. They've still lost more games than they've won. Yeah. Seattle, 31-35. San Jose, 32-33. The LA Kings, 27-39, and they're still in the race. Yeah. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Look, I get it. I'd like to see that happen and that change happen as well. It probably won't. My guess is it probably won't until they add a couple more teams. Even then, you know, that they like the format still. So I don't even think at that point they're going to expand the playoff picture. But, you know, adding in the points, providing a little bit of more gap. I would like it. A lot of people would, but the league, again, pretty adamant that they like the playoff format the way it is. And they like to have, you know, this tight, these tight games and these tight races happen in the later part of the season going into the playoffs, because there's so much hype that's geared towards it, and a lot of attention will come from that. So they feel that that's a good recipe for success in terms of awareness, overall marketing, the eyeballs on this thing, and just the hype that would surround the sport going into the playoffs.
All right, Dave, as always, man, appreciate your time, and we'll see you in Edmonton in 2028.
Yes, hopefully well before that, but yes,
we'll see. All right, thanks, Dave.
See ya,
boys, later.
Do you think he's going to prefer Prague or Calgary to cover for the prelims? I think that's Calgary's beautiful. I have nothing against the city of Calgary. February in Calgary, or getting a chance to go to Prague when the big dogs at like every hockey media company, when they're splitting up assignments.
So where are we going?
Where are we going? You know, there's a lot of people at Prague. I'll do Prague.
Yeah, I don't mind.
If I have to, I'll do Prague.
If you need someone to go,
I'll go.
I'll go. People are asking, speculating in the chat and asking us, who would be good to have the playoff, these rights for the TV? I'll just say CTV and Sportsnet, whatever. Is that all Rogers?
No, CTV's Bell.
What's the Rogers one? Is it CBC?
CBC is government funded. Our tax dollars pay for it.
Well, what was City
TV is Rogers. City TV and
what was the Olympics just done? Wasn't that?
Well, the Olympics was everybody.
Oh, that was CBC Gem.
CBC Gem.
My point is, don't restrict this by going on like Netflix or something like that. No, I understand the money side of it, but you can't be like, we're growing the game and then put it behind a paywall. And I know people pay for cable, but like most people typically will have cable.
Amazon.
No, I get it, but Amazon sucks.
I'll boycott. No, I won't. That's a lie.
It sucks.
You know what doesn't suck about Amazon?
What?
Jeff Bezos' wallet.
Yeah, and I understand
I get it.
all of
I
that,
get
but
it,
it sucks. Like, the NHL should prioritize their fans in this too, and their fans don't like Amazon.
I know, but they won't.
I know they won't, but it'll probably be Sportsnet anyway.
Probably.
They have the most money.
I could see like an American Amazon kind of thing getting in the mix, though.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
Which would suck. I think it would suck a lot, to be honest.
I agree. I think you're taking
with all the publicity around USA Canada, I would not be shocked if like Netflix tried to get in on that. They're trying to get into sports. They're getting into podcasts now.
They're getting they bought baseball opening day, right? Like they buy everything.
And I have Netflix, so I'm okay with that.
But here's the thing. You have Netflix. And my sister has Netflix. But what I'll say is this. The NBA has gone so far downhill because every single day of the week you have to have a different platform to watch that sport.
It sucks.
And if they do this for the World Cup of Hockey, and I would assume by that point they've already have other deals as well. Like we've already seen the Amazon one kind of come out of nowhere. Yeah. The people have mentioned like the MLB Apple Plus one, huge failure. That has not gone well at all. Their numbers have not increased.
Yeah.
Do not do this. I think it would be an awful idea. Some games, sure, but you have to have both. There has to be two options. It can't just be like your games are only on Crave or something.
That would be very funny.
It would just be an awful idea. I just can't see how they would do it.
World Cup of Hockey only on Crave. Just rolls right into an episode of Shoresy.
And then just right after, like, heated rivalry, like, between every 15, like, just intermission.
The fucking mockery of it, yeah.
Oh,
Okay. We got a couple other things we want to get to. First off, just to finish off the kind of overtime conversation. I do think it's a 3-on-3 overtime, and we knew this was going to happen. This was the joke when 3-on-3 OT started, and we were all like, oh my God, this is like going from chewing gum to cocaine. Like, it's fucking awesome, right? It was like, wait till coaches get their hands on this thing. I mean, that's an analogy. I'm not saying I
No,
don't
I know.
do
I
drugs.
just never thought of the analogy that way. But
It's accurate though. You go from watching like 5-on-5 hockey in the regular season to like that first year of 3-on-3 hockey was insane. So
yeah,
much
it was
fun.
great.
No one knew how to play it.
I think that the game has gone, some games luck bad, but I think most games are fine.
I agree that it's not like the biggest problem in the world for the NHL, but can I give you my solution to fix it?
Please.
This would make teams play 3-on-3 very, very aggressively.
No stoppages.
In the 3-2-1 point system, keep the 3 points for overtime, but not for the shootout.
Shootout's just 2.
Shootout. If you win in a shootout, you only get 2 points.
I think that would actually be a good way to do it. Like, I don't think teams go out there and try not to win. I think they go out there and try not to lose, and it forces them not to also try and win.
Yeah, like
It's a bit of a problem.
PD showed me the clips from Philly Columbus 3 times in the span of like a minute and a half. Philly had the puck in the offensive zone and circled back. That's brutal for your product.
Who's doing it? Like, who are the players? You know what I mean?
Zegras and stuff.
Was
like
it Zegras?
guys who you look at and go like, again, Fantilli's in that. All these young exciting
Johnson,
players. Mitch
exciting
Cobb,
player.
although his coach hates him.
But still, though, he's an
Ken
exciting
Johnson,
player.
coach, also hates him.
Yeah, that's fair. But, like,
Werenski.
those players should be shining in this. I was hoping you'd say, like, it was Sean Couturier.
No.
But, yeah, it sucks when it's like that. And I would say shootouts are more of a risk than
I
an
agree.
overtime win, to be honest. Like, trying to win an overtime.
Your goalie would 100% rather stop a breakaway in 3-on-3 overtime than a shootout.
Especially when he has to do it 3 times.
Yeah.
He has to do it once. So you take your odds.
If the NHL was what I would call properly doing their standings, properly representing their standings, and had the 3-2-1 point system, the Edmonton Oilers would be first in the Pacific Division with 84 points.
I don't really know why you need a point to lose. Like, I understand, like, 3-on-3 is just not hockey, technically. It is, but you know what I'm saying.
You know what it should be? Overtime losses should be the number 1 tiebreaker.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because then you can just do 2-0, and it's like, hey, you know what? If you're tied with a team, we'll see how many times you lost in overtime, and that'll be how we split the tie. Which is kind of what they do now with the first tiebreaker being regulation wins.
Same
But then they're just like
difference,
allowing overtime points to still count. It's weird. Like, it does not make sense how Las Vegas is 31-36 on the year, and they're ahead of the Oilers.
Yeah.
They have 6 fewer wins than the Anaheim Ducks. 6 fewer wins, and they're a point behind them. What are we doing here? Why? Winning games should mean more than just dragging them to OT.
I agree. Eliminate the loser point. You get 2 for an overtime win or a shootout win, and you get 3 for... Actually, there you go. 3-2-1 rule. You just get 1 if you win in a shootout. You get 2 if you win in overtime. You get 3 if you win in regulation. You get absolutely nothing if you lose because you lost. You lost the game.
The reason I like I'll call it the older school 3-2-1 sort of system is 3 for a regulation win, and then as soon as it's in overtime, it's either 2 for the win and 1 for the loss.
Yeah.
And what that does is every single game has exactly 3 points up for grabs. And if you're going to overtime, there's still 3 points up for grabs. You're just splitting them a little bit. But I get Ryan says it's all about money, Tyler. You got to keep all the markets close. There's a glass half full, glass half empty way to view that. You could sit there and say, if you went to the 3-2-1 system, there'd be larger gaps in the playoff race. But then what you'd get is teams getting hot and being like, oh my God, they won. You know, a team that's 9 points out, you could sit there and go, hey man, if they rattle off 3 straight regulation wins, they are right back in it. It puts an emphasis on actually winning games in regulation. And then if you keep the 3rd point around for overtime, it puts an emphasis on trying to end it in overtime and not give that extra point. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess there is the idea of the system shows why bottom teams should always try and make it to overtime for a win. And that's fair. Like, the NBA is going through the problem of like everyone just keeps losing games for fun. Like
Everyone's
just,
tanking.
and they're getting like they're tanking, they're benching players, and like that would probably come into it, I guess, to a certain layer. But like, I don't know. Like even the bad teams will be bad, and you can talk about like, and I think Ryan is correct. I think it was Ryan saying, whoever it was who said like, you got to keep it close for the poor lesser markets. The New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils are the two worst teams in the East.
I don't buy that.
And then Carolina and Buffalo's a big market, but like Carolina and Pittsburgh, not huge markets, but they are hockey markets, are two of the better teams in the division. I think when you look in the Western Conference as well, like Anaheim and Vegas aren't exactly gigantic markets, but they do good. They've been doing well, and they've have a decent history, even Vegas in its short stint. But like, certain teams just go through a rotation. Like Edmonton, Vancouver, and Calgary are the bottom two teams in the West. Mm-hmm. I think Gary Bettman would actually like it if they were higher up the standings. Canadian money is kind of what drives the league, too.
Right now, Columbus and Detroit are separated by 1 point in the standings, and Columbus has 1 game in hand. If you went to the 3-2-1 point system, they'd be separated by 3 points, and Columbus would have a game in hand. The pressure right now on Columbus is you have to win a game in either regulation or overtime to catch Detroit. The pressure in the proper system, the way it should be done, would be you have to go out there and win the game in regulation. Yeah. You'd still be close. It would just actually reward teams for doing well. Like, I even look at the difference between a Detroit and a Boston. Boston's won 2 more games in regulation. They've won 1 more game overall, and they're tied with them. That's not fair to me. And I get that, like, you want to do this whole keep it close parody, blah, blah, blah. It's artificial. It's fake. It's not a good representation of who's actually the best teams in the sport.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Again, for what Edmonton's done this year, as much as we can bitch and moan, and hey, they're also a team that still hasn't won as much as they've lost this year. That is a problem. But when they win games in regulation.
Yeah.
Or at least overtime.
They have the most in the division, which is hilarious, again, considering where we were.
How many times do you think Anaheim's won in a shootout this year?
Oh, well, they have like 23 regulation wins, right?
22 regulation wins.
I'll say 6.
8. They've won 8 shootout games this year. And that's why they're ahead of the Oilers, because they've won more games in a shootout. And granted, Edmonton is an absolutely atrocious shootout team. They're 0-3.
Shout out Draisaitl.
Anaheim, a perfect 8-0, by the way, in a shootout. Crazy.
Well, they have the kids. The kids who want to do their skill moves. You have guys who are like, holy moly, I've been at the rink an extra 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I can't get out of here.
But I don't know, man. I don't like how these teams get artificially inflated through all this. Pittsburgh's 1 in 10 in the shootouts.
It would be funny to do research on the oldest teams in the league record in a shootout compared to the youngest teams. Yeah. Just to know.
Like who's Sid's just fucking over it. He's like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Like, send Ben Kindle again, please. Do you buy anything into the idea that the format should change for 1 through 8?
No.
See, I tend to agree. And I think when it's all said and done, typically it ends up just being the first round matchups anyway. In the previous years, like there's maybe been like one that would be different. This year, I think is very extreme in the West because you have clearly 3 of the best teams in the league are in the same division. Yeah. And that sucks. But like you go back to the past few years, like it's very, very similar to what it would be. Like Winnipeg, St. Louis was 1. Edmonton would have played Dallas actually in the first round, but like it's all very
and
close.
Then we would have been sitting there being like, why does Edmonton have to play Dallas in the first round?
Yeah,
like,
and also too, I think there's the other side of it is like if this was strictly like 1 through 8, teams would look at the standings a lot more. If you were the Oilers in that point and be like for now it would have been like, okay, we're 2 points off the division, like we just need to accomplish that. That is our goal right now. Yeah. But if you're in it on the other side where it's 1 through 8, it's like, shit, we got 6 games left. If we win only 3 of these games, we play Dallas. But if we win a couple more, we play Vegas. You know what I mean? Like it'd be a lot different. I don't think it would be the same.
I would also take away one of the interdivision games. Like right now, like Edmonton will play a couple teams in the Central 3 times, but they'll also only play some teams in their division 3 times this year. Yeah. I want it where you play every team in your division 4 times.
Well, you would have to change the divisions. Remember when they did this previously? There wasn't 6 divisions. There was 3.
Well, yeah, but that's when they played each other 8 times. You can do it.
But I mean, for like the standings and stuff, like they might have to go back to a 3 division format. If it's just strictly only like Western Conference, Eastern Conference, they might try and spread it back out into 3 divisions again.
Yeah, they might.
Which would be interesting. Edmonton's division.
Well, what gets wonky if they expand again, which I'm vehemently against. I do not want to see them expand.
I don't think there's enough talent.
I think the product, you're right, it's watered down. But how do you split? Are you going 2 17-team conferences? Because if you're at 34 divided by 2,
Yeah,
it's 17.
I guess so.
So then how do you split up 2 divisions? 17 does not divide into anything.
No, but there was
It's a
a point.
non-prime number.
That is true.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
That is true.
Maybe. Let's run with that.
I think that.
How do you do that?
Well, they've done it in the past when the Pacific Division originally was just 7 teams and the other one was 8.
Yeah.
Because Phoenix was in the division, then became Arizona, obviously.
Yeah.
Now they moved, and then Seattle and Vegas both came into the league. So you just have to mess around for a year, I guess. Depends where they would go. Where do you think they'll go? Houston?
Houston would go to the Central, so that's 9.
Well, the other team, if they do Atlanta, they would obviously just go in Winnipeg's division, naturally.
Remember, didn't Winnipeg play in that division for
In
a
the
year? They totally did.
Southeast
Yeah.
Division. It was Winnipeg, Carolina, Washington, Florida, and Atlanta.
Tampa.
And Tampa then. So
Atlanta wasn't there. Winnipeg took Atlanta's
Oh,
spot.
right, of course, yes.
Thrashers.
That makes a lot of sense. The travel. And then there was
It was
a point
insane, yeah.
when the Detroit Red Wings, who might be, I think off the top of my head, the furthest eastern team or one of, were in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
And they would
Well,
win.
no, Nashville's also pretty east.
Yeah, it is crazy that. And Chicago's not too far.
It is weird that
Not a lot going on in the West.
it's weird that Nashville and like Vegas play in the same division.
No, they don't.
Oh, sorry, Nashville and Utah. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, it is odd. If you had to, okay, let's do this. We're on the exercise.
Okay.
If you had to go back to 3 divisions, each conference, and you're on 1 through 8, you can bring in back all the divisions, and you have 6. Who's in the Oilers division? Because previously it was obviously them, Calgary, Vancouver, San Jose, Anaheim, and LA. But I wonder if they would get rid of the 3 California teams. No, because then where would you? Maybe you just go Vegas, Utah, Arizona in that division. Then you go like California, Texas, Chicago, Nashville. Jeez, what a crazy.
I think the division. They honestly might. No, but you want Minnesota playing with
St. Louis is another team.
So if you need 6 teams, is there a world where it's Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Seattle, Winnipeg mini as a division?
Yes, there is. That's probably it.
Geographically,
Winnipeg,
are you looking at a map?
I'm looking at a map. I got a map.
Like, yeah, you're not really screwing over mini and
Well, Minnesota and Winnipeg, they're right below and
they
above
need to.
each
Yeah,
other.
they need to be together. Vancouver and Seattle need to be together. Edmonton and Calgary need
So
to
you
be
got a
together.
good rivalry there.
Yeah.
So that's one division. We will call it
the
North.
the North division.
North
there you go.
Division. We the North Division, easy one. San Jose, LA, Anaheim, Vegas,
In Utah.
Utah. I said Phoenix before. They're obviously not in the league. And Colorado. Right?
Yeah, Colorado's in the Mountain Time Zone.
Oh, do you need 6?
Well, that's where again 17's an awkward
Things
number
get- 'cause
because
then-
you could do 6, 6, and 5.
Because then you get over to, and this might sound silly, but geographically,
Thank you.
St. Louis, Nashville, Columbus, Washington, Carolina, Florida, Tampa. Look how close they are.
Yeah.
Those are close. It's crazy that actually Nashville is not in.
Can I be very honest with you?
Yeah.
This is getting very hard to track.
It's okay. I got it all in my head.
I know. Tomorrow, can you put this all in a graphic for us?
Go to Elite Prospects and type in NHL, and then pull, and it shows like a map, and it has all the teams' logos. So we got the North Division. We'll call it the Sunshine Division, which would be LA, San Jose, obviously.
Sunshine West, and then we can do Sunshine
We
East.
could do Sunshine East.
Yeah. That'd be
Which-
very funny if they go from like, remember in the past, like Smythe Division, like named after guys, and there's like
Sunshine
Sunshine East,
Div-
Sunshine West.
So Sunshine East, again, would be Dallas, St. Louis, Nashville, Carolina, Florida, Tampa. And then we'll call this one the Liberty one, Liberty Division, which is Pittsburgh, Philly, Washington, New Jersey, New York, New York. Everyone with me?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll call this next one almost the original 6. With Boston, Montreal, Ottawa, Buffalo, Toronto, Detroit. I just fixed the league. I don't think I missed a team. Chicago. I missed Chicago. But one team would have an odd number.
2 divisions, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Because, again, you can't split 34 into anything good.
Yeah. No, you can't. And then eventually get Houston in there. They obviously go into Sunshine East. I'll write these down tomorrow.
I asked ChatGPT to do it.
What did it say? Was I close?
It had Pacific Division, Vancouver, Seattle, Calgary, Edmonton, San Jose.
It's only 5 teams.
Yeah. You're doing 3 divisions of conference. One's going to have 5, 2 are going to have 6.
Of course.
Southwest Division, LA, Anaheim, Vegas, Utah, Colorado, desert and mountain times.
Colorado, I would split Colorado and San Jose. Either way.
And then the Central was Dallas, Houston, Chicago, St. Louis, Minnesota, Winnipeg, Midwest, and Texas.
Damn.
This, again, got very confusing very quickly.
I think we're on something now. We'll email Gary.
Why don't we just do 34 teams? The playoffs would be a fucking disaster.
Oh, everyone makes it.
No. Like 34 teams, top 16 make the playoffs, 1 through 16.
One league.
I always hear people say that, but like, can you imagine how terrible it'd be if like round 1 of the playoffs, Montreal, LA, and their travel just sucks? It's like Vancouver, Florida, round 1, and they're like, what the hell?
Country's too big. Well, continent, sorry.
Yeah.
There was one other thing I was going to say. Can't remember. It's okay.
Someone wants you to make the Naj said, Liam, do the divisions get flags?
Of course.
Someone said 30. Wise Cal said 36 teams. Oh my God, no. Like 32 is already too much. That's why I don't even like having this conversation.
They'll get to 40 one day. We might be like, there are many, many moons away.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll get to 40 one day.
Okay.
Again, like it just all comes down to talent. And the NHL doesn't have enough talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's spread too thin. The cap has screwed it all anyway over the flat cap era. And they got to get this World Cup going, obviously, and then get some more European players going.
Yep. All right, Liam. Got a couple of other things here that we got to cross off our list today.
I'm ready.
One of them is Fill in the Blank, which is a presentation of GMC. Truck Month is on right now at GMC, and if you've been waiting for the perfect time to upgrade your ride, this is it. The 2026 Sierra 1500 Pro Graphite Crew Cab is built to stand out and is now available at 0% financing for 72 months. It's got a 2-inch factory lift with off-road suspension and a 5.3-liter V8 engine that delivers the kind of power you actually feel when you hit the gas. Give me a vroom, vroom. Vroom,
Vroom.
vroom. And during Truck Month, you can get into your very own. Now's the time to head down to the dealership, take it for a spin, and see what the Sierra 1500 Pro Graphite Crew Cab can really do. All right. There was and I like the guy on Twitter, Klima's Lid, has some good insight. Seems to be a good guy. He had a video that was making the rounds on Oilers Twitter of Tristan Jarry not really working all that hard during warm-ups the other day. Obviously, he wasn't starting, but it was a bit of a conversation of like, hey, this guy apparently isn't working hard in practice. He's not trying hard in warm-ups, body language, all of this stuff. Your first fill in the blank, the talk about Tristan Jarry's work habits are blank.
Correct.
Okay.
There's been 2 reports now. And I think everyone growing up would have heard a coach say you'll only play as well as you practice or as hard as you practice, however it was phrased. And if this guy's come into Edmonton and started this whole thing, I think there's a narrative that's being missed in all of this. Is like Oilers fans did not like, the majority of them were very upset with Stuart Skinner, but never once was his work ethic questioned.
Correct.
Never. We've had 2 incidences in a week where this is now being questioned. And maybe it's just like was brought at once and now it's all being focused on. Mm-hmm. But I think it's fair. And maybe it is also a side of maybe Jarry's always been like this in Pittsburgh as well. And his numbers have been good in Pittsburgh.
There's been a bit of this book on Jarry dating back to his Oil Kings days that he's not the most How do you word
It's not
this?
a work ethic thing. I think it's a bit nonchalant.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Also, this video makes it seem like he just maybe had taken some shots and now he's just skating. I don't know. I don't know what his routine is, but I think it's fair to, if you don't know what it is, it's fair to see it.
We got to keep our pitchforks away if we're just filming a guy in warm-up, how he's skating around the ice. All right, like, I get we're not happy with his play right now, but show me him actually taking shots, because, yes, he could have just
Who knows what just
taking
happened?
30. Like, what are we doing here? Also, we should mention Tristan Jarry's warm-up. Shout out our boy Peyton, got his stick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
did.
kinda
Cleveland didn't
cool.
get that part, I guess. But
And yes, Peyton eventually gave it to a kid in a Jarry jersey.
yes, he did.
Oh, he did. Cool. Even if he didn't, I think that is also a little bit overblown sometimes too.
Yeah, I know.
It's like Peyton just caught an NHL goalie's stick, and I would imagine he didn't like snag it out of a kid's hand.
Peyton
Maybe-
is like 7 feet tall.
The
He
kid
ran-
was his cousin
Oh.
that Peyton went with. So, yeah.
Also, Caden's 18.
Peyton?
You just call him Caden?
Yeah, I call him Caden. It's because
Yeah.
I was mixing kid and
His name's
Peyton.
Peyton, and I think he's 20.
No, he's not that old,
He's
is
20.
he? Is he 20?
He said it in the
My
chat
point
after.
is, he's a young man who's also
Yeah.
building memories himself. I don't know if people were even going at him, but good for him for catching.
My word was going to be it's overblown.
What did I say?
You said fair.
I think it's fair because it's been brought up a couple times. With that said, I hadn't seen the video. I thought it was...
The reason I think it's just a little bit overblown is just like, I think if you were to watch a lot of goalies in the NHL who aren't starting in warmups, they probably aren't going buck 10.
Yeah.
And there's, again, let's maybe watch Tristan Jarry on the days he is starting. Maybe this is just what he does. He maybe just isn't a guy who goes nuts in warm-up. Like, I don't know. I just think a little overblown, but the reason I'm stopping short, like I'm not calling it a non-story.
Yes.
Because I think it is a story. The fact it's come up in practice, like you said, it's now popping up again. Like, yeah, there's reason to sit here. And this is where we can bring it back to the Knoblauch comments, Liam. Does Chris Knoblauch come out and, again, for kind of no reason here on the surface, randomly say, Connor Ingram is our number one starting goalie?
Because the only other time this would have happened with Skinner and Pickard was in the playoffs.
Correct.
Yeah.
But, like, does he come out and say that? And there's a few ways to take it. One, is he just being honest and setting the expectation so that he doesn't have to do every press conference down the stretch and be like, I don't know who my goalie is?
Maybe.
That's possible. Is he doing it as a shot to Tristan Jarry to be like, hey, buddy, you lost the crease? Or is he doing it because we know Ingram, again, has struggled at times with consistency? Mm-hmm. Is he doing it as a message to Connor Ingram to be like, hey, just to let you know, one bad game's not going to sink you. Play relaxed. There's lots of ways to take it,
Totally.
but one of the ways you could take it is as a shot to Tristan Jarry.
Yeah. I think the practice incident is more significant than whatever that video was. Warm-ups, I guess.
Dubnyk said this from Bo. Dubnyk said when he was young, he would personally go hard regardless of starting or not in warm-ups. As he got older, he really wouldn't go hard for warm-up as a backup. That might be part of it too. Tristan Jarry's like, I'm not going to go and work up a big-ass sweat just to sit on the bench and be sweaty for 2.5 hours.
Yeah. He's a man who's played... How many games? He must play
Us 30-year-olds we're getting down there.
Well, like,
yeah, totally.
The other thing too is if he goes, warms up hard, he then goes off the ice with 5 minutes left in warm-up, sits in the room for 20 minutes, comes out, anthems and all that, 10 minutes. First period, even if he were to go into the game 10 minutes in, because it's been an hour since he's warmed up. Come on.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Next one I got for you. Connor McDavid's line mates for game one of the playoffs will be blank and blank. Connor McDavid's line mates for game one of the playoffs will be blank and Zach Hyman.
Nuge. I think let's just go back to Nuge.
You don't think this has some amount of staying power?
Isn't Nuge already on the top line today, or did he go on the second line?
Practice lines today still had Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with Jason Dickinson.
I think he'll still be Nuge. I don't think he should be, but I think he'll go back to that. Eventually, he might switch up. I don't know, but I can see starting that game being those guys.
Lines today at practice: Savoie with McDavid and Hyman, Nuge with Dickinson and Roslovic, Podkolzin with Szymanski and Kapanen, Jones with Rico and Frederic. Couple ways to read this. One would be it was a practice and you just wanted a centerman between Kapanen and Podkolzin.
Yeah.
So even though Draisaitl's not there, you wanted a center. And if Leon's ready, you put Leon back where Szymanski is, Szymanski back where Jones is, and you roll along. But I don't know.
Knoblauch said Draisaitl missed practice today because his doctor's appointment was during practice. So
That
I don't think he was going to skate anyway.
probably not. But him, I don't know. Why does he need a doctor's appointment?
Oh, he got injured.
Well, I'm aware of that, but like that to me implies that there's something more than just the training staff looking him over. I also don't know how that stuff works.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone said earlier in the chat, by the way, we never talked about it. I didn't think it was anything to talk about. Not a penalty on Ozzy Weisblatt. Just hit him hard, caught him in a bad.
Yep.
Maybe if that was on the glass, it might have been a bit different, but kind of right on the boards, wasn't it? I don't, and a lot of people backed it up being like, I don't think it was a penalty. It was a hard play from Weisblatt. He's trying to keep his spot in the lineup.
And he drilled his ass. That was
He
a
did.
good
That's what you want guys in the bottom of your lineup to do.
Yeah.
So
He
whatever.
became public enemy number 1 as a result.
Yeah, and I'm glad the Oilers made him that.
Next one I got for you. If you could guarantee one thing about the next World Cup in 2028, it would be blank.
If I can name what, sorry?
Guarantee like one thing. What's one thing that you really want to see? A country involved in it?
Canada wins.
I mean, like from the structure of the tournament.
I would actually, and I think hockey misses this, I would like them to do like a legit draw for the pools.
Oh.
Like pull names out of a hat and tell me who's going what. You can see teams, sure. But like there's only 8 teams, right? So it's only 2 groups. But like give me a bit of something, not just being like, well, based off world rankings, Canada plays Latvia, Finland, Sweden. I don't know, whatever it would be. But like I think that would be fun.
I think they're going to put Canada and USA in the same pool.
I think so too, and I think that's kind of lame. I like the anticipation of like, oh, this is how all the groups could go. Like that would be fun.
Yeah. I think they'll put Canada and USA together, and I think in part to give Calgary one big game.
I think Canada and Czech will definitely be in separate groups. Czech and Canada, technically the host nations.
Correct, yep.
Put them in separate groups.
So I bet you the Europe one is Czech, Sweden, Finland, because you'll want to guarantee that rivalry game. Like, I get what you're saying, and I agree. It'd be more fun. Mm-hmm. FIFA can do that for a World Cup because FIFA's a juggernaut, and billions of people are going to watch no matter what. Canada, I think, needs to try build in some TV-related revenue here and be like, okay, in Finland and Sweden, putting them together for a round-robin game is massive. Canada-USA, that round-robin game, massive, and then also gives us a much better chance at the 2 of them meeting in the final, which would also be massive.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to it because there's even the side of like, do you put Draisaitl in the European pool or do you put him in the Canadian pool, the North American pool, for the sense of like, oh, he will play against McDavid?
I
or
think
do you like try and, as Pagnotta said to us, like they're trying to drive stuff in Germany right now. Getting him closer is probably pretty beneficial.
So you could do Czechia, Sweden, Finland, Germany, Canada, USA, Slovakia, and
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
But then you look at it, like those groups aren't even at all.
Nope.
They're not. Like, that's
Well,
why
Slovakia, you could argue, is better than Czechia.
Yeah, I guess.
Based on the way things went, you could almost argue they're better than Finland.
Finland missing some players, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it says you can. I don't think they should handpick it for these reasons.
Yeah.
At some point, you will likely get Sweden, Finland.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting poll right now, and may I do one for you?
Yep.
This is from our friends Sekiris and Price. Our old friend Evander Kane, did you see this? Is 7 games away from playing his 1,000th game in the NHL.
Oh, wow.
So they put out a poll saying, do the Canucks owe Evander Kane his 1,000th game?
Are they thinking of healthy scratching
I
him?
think he's currently being healthy scratched every now and then. So Jeff Patterson quote tweeted and said, I'm voting yes, needs 7 games. Would be absolutely horrific luck on the franchise to make the decision to keep him out for an incredible milestone for any player. Foot said last week it's on his radar, so I have to think means Kane will reach 1,000 games shortly. The poll is 54% yes, 56% no. I think I'm with Jeff on this one. I think as much as like Evander Kane's been a problem for certain teams, he looks to be not going too well for him in Vancouver because the whole team's an absolute disaster. It's not just him by any means. But I think there's certain moments where it's like, just give the player what he has earned.
Well,
which is 1,000.
Also, don't bring a negative storyline to your franchise for no reason.
Yeah, which you already have so many.
Yeah, like just give them 7. Like you're not going to win. You could also argue if you're the Canucks and you go, well, Evander Kane's not one of our 12 best forwards. That's fine. You should be trying to lose, actually.
Yeah, it's actually beneficial to have him in the line.
Evander Kane, by the way, 12 goals on the year, 10 of them at even strength.
Crazy. It's not crazy that how quickly the fall off is. It's crazy that no one wanted him.
At the deadline, yeah. But I think, again, your reputation catches up to you. Can I throw you this?
Please.
You're Stan Bowman this summer, July 1. And you got to sign a bottom 6 winger guy you want to play up and down your lineup. And there's 2 contracts in front of you. Kasperi Kapanen's got suitors. He played good down the stretch.
Yeah.
He says, I want to come back to Edmonton, though. But you gotta
give me a bit of money. $3 million. Let's say $3 million.
I was going to say 3 years times $2 million for Kapanen.
Sure.
Or 1 year by $2 million for Evander Kane.
Oh, Kapanen.
Yeah.
100%.
He was awesome last night.
Well, I also just think he's never a problem.
But term over like a 1 year.
Also
How
better.
is Evander Kane? I mean, he's old actually, right? Kapanen's 29. That's a no-brainer. I was gonna say, do you get a motivated Evander Kane for a year, but a motivated Evander Kane for his age 35 season? I don't think there's a ton there.
I would agree. Kapanen. So Evander Kane has 12 goals in 63 games. Kapanen has 7 in 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking Kapanen every day. Every day and twice on Sundays.
Yep. Chat's a little mixed. One person said, I miss Kane. Another person, D.H. Blecker, said, despite him being a former Oiler, I don't care about Kane. I think both of those are fair.
I think it's fair to miss Kane. I think he was a fan favorite, and I think he did enough to earn that respect from the fan base. I just think if he came back, he would lose that a lot.
Probably.
And I think it would be the right thing for Evander Kane to consider retiring this summer.
Mm-hmm.
As for
Especially
the
if
Oilers,
it's 1,000 games.
the first half of the Kane tenure was fantastic. We're just remembering the last part.
Well, he just got in. That injury was ginormous.
Remember he was scoring a hattie every 9 games?
Yeah,
like
it was awesome.
And he's 35 years old, and there's no guarantee he can stay healthy for you. So I think that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, I think that is a wrap on today's edition of the show.
Can I tell my story?
Oh, sure.
So I met a couple of people this weekend. Well, I met one. The other one I sat next to and was too scared to say a word to. Mm-hmm. That was Mike Smith.
Yeah, I wouldn't talk to him either.
As scary as he may look on TV, he looks very similar in person. He's also massive. He was coaching one of the teams, Rink Kelowna, who won the way they do this. So it's the sports school playoffs. It was. They split it into 2. So there's like, if you're one of the bottom 8 teams, you go into the B bracket, Division 2, and if you're the other 12, you go into the Division A bracket. You play for the championship, I guess. And Kelowna won, Mike Smith's team, so congratulations to them. But as we were watching the final, you go all the way to Kelowna. I was in Penticton, sorry. And the final was just 2 teams from Calgary, which is like, God damn it. 3 of the 4 teams in the semis were all from Alberta. We've seen all season. So I'm sat in this seat. I'm watching Edge versus Calgary International. And one of our scouts, Rob, who lives in Penticton, he stood behind me. So I stand up at the intermission and I'm talking to him, and then I'm not really paying attention, and all of a sudden this other guy stands up in front and starts talking to Rob. And again, I'm not really paying much attention, didn't recognize him. And then all of a sudden Rob goes, hey, Liam, have you met Duncan before? And I looked, and it was Duncan Keith. And I had a conversation with Duncan Keith, and I was like, I don't know how I didn't recognize it was him at all, but I did. So
What do you have to say to you?
I talked to him about the tournament and how it was kind of all working, and we just like, hello and everything. His son is coming through and should be a pretty good hockey player as well. So yeah, Duncan Keith's just spending he had nothing in the game. He just went to go and watch some hockey.
Just guy who loves hockey.
Yeah, and I guess there was a couple of guys who were there before me and just saw him around the rink just watching this tournament. And it's a really fun tournament. There's a lot of good players, but yeah, Duncan Keith was a really nice guy. Seemed like a really good guy. So maybe I'll try and see if I can sway some things towards playoff time.
All right. Tomorrow on the show, our new friend Landon Ferrara will be back for his weekly appearance, and it's a game day edition of the show, so Jay will be here too.
That'll be good.
That'll be lots of fun. All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody in the YouTube. Great stuff as always. We will see you all tomorrow. Enjoy your Monday. Oil up. What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Every Day, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.